Now, please welcome our host for this evening, Frank Buckley, Emmy Award-winning anchor of the KTLA Morning News, host of Frank Buckley Interviews on KTLA on weekends, and co-anchor of Inside California Politics, airing statewide, including on KTLA on weekends, Mr. Frank Buckley.
Well, thank you for that commercial, voice of God. Thank you. I appreciate that. Good evening, everyone. Konbanwa. Genki desu ka? I'll take that as a yes. Let's hear it for the Sansei Rockers. Issei, nisei, sansei でしょ? Sansei Rockers, not Sansai. Anyway. More on the band in just a moment, but first, how great is it that we are back together again as a community? We have so much to celebrate tonight as a community, not least of which David Ono couldn't make it tonight. So we're very excited about that. I kid because I love. David is a proud Hapa like me. I'm happy to call him a friend. And he is my favorite #2 anchorman in LA. So another Hapa brother I want to shout out tonight and encourage you to support as a community is the new play-by-play announcer for the Los Angeles Dodgers, Steven Nelson. Steven is doing 55 games this season for the Dodgers. Steven's okasan is Flo Kuraoka Nelson. Some of you know Flo is a charter member of the Japanese American National Museum. So we can all celebrate that Steven is now part of the Dodgers broadcast team. One more thing that I'm personally celebrating tonight, 28 years ago today, my beautiful wife, Elena, who's sitting at table 8, made me the luckiest guy in the world. We are celebrating our 28th anniversary tonight. She is so mad at me right now. Not only is this a celebration of JANM, this is like our 28th wedding anniversary party with all of you. So thank you for being our anniversary party. We want to welcome the Hapas, the Issei, the Nisei, the Sansei, the Yonsei, Gosei, everyone who is here to support our mission at JANM, to educate our fellow citizens, everyone who visits, about the contributions and proud histories of Japanese Americans. And of course, we want to welcome our friends who are here from Japan, our Japanese friends, and the companies and organizations that support JANM. Let me just say to them, I'll try my Japanese, Bakkure Franku desu, yoroshiku onegai shimasu, go shien arigatou gozaimasu. I see some of you saying, what did he just say? If someone at your table just said, what did he say? You know that person didn't pay attention at Saturday school. Thank you all for being here tonight, and let's have some fun. The opening band was fun, right? The Sansei Rockers. On lead vocals, it was Grammy Award-winning Royce Jones. We have 3 members of the Something Else Band, one of the most popular bands from the Sansei Dance Party era, 2 members of Society of 7, Hawaii's finest show band, and the multi-award-winning singer-songwriter Harold Payne topped off the unique group's list of world-class musicians. So let's thank them again. Let's all stand as well as the Sansei Rockers perform the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the rampart hearts we watched were so gallantly streaming,
and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Once again, our thanks to the Sansei Rockers. Now to all of you, we want to remind you we have an exciting online auction happening right now featuring some truly unique items. Please be sure to place your bids. It's a fantastic opportunity to support the museum while treating yourself, or even me and Mrs. Buckley if you want to get us something nice for our anniversary. That condo in Maui looked really good. I'm just saying, you don't have to, but you can view the full selection of silent auction items online, and for your convenience, we've also displayed some of the items in the foyer out there. The online auction will actually close tomorrow at 1 p.m., so you'll have a chance to win some amazing items while supporting the Japanese American National Museum. And now to say a few words from the board, we would like to welcome the JANM Chair of the Board of Trustees, Bill Fujioka.
Well, good evening. Before I start my comments, I'm glad Mr. Buckley corrected the Sansei thing, because that's my generation. And most of these guys, I went to the dance parties where they played, so it was quite amazing. But good evening. On behalf of the JANM Board of Trustees and Governors, welcome to JANM's annual benefit. Across generations celebrates our leaders, supporters, who believe in JANM's mission and its enduring role in society. It is with great pleasure that we come together and celebrate with you, your families, in multiple generations here tonight, and not only here, but across the nation. Tonight, we celebrate families like the Aratanis, who have given unwavering support to JANM and other local and national community organizations. We celebrate families like the Minettas. As I've said before, for me, it's an exceptional honor to follow the late Secretary Minetta as chair of the board. His life work of diplomacy and his love for his country inspired all communities to address intolerance, racism, and discrimination. But we celebrate everyone here tonight for your support. We have a number of elected officials here tonight. I want to thank Representative Mark Takano, Assemblymember Al Murasuchi from the 66th District, my good personal friend Mike Fong from the 49th District. We have Miguel Santiago from the 54th District. We have our new governor, Jeff Maloney, from the city of Alhambra. Yeah, and then we have our friend and great supporter of JANM, Consul General Ken Kosone and his wife with us tonight. The individuals I mentioned, but most importantly, each one of you have played an important role in helping JANM impact the lives of all communities. With your support, JANM continues to be a place where people with diverse views and beliefs can come together to talk about the lessons of our history and how they help shape the many social issues our nation faces today. We truly appreciate your support, your investment, and your time. But for me, and I know for all of us, most importantly, we celebrate the Ise and Nise, who are the foundations for our community. The Ise have the courage and strength to leave Japan for a better life, only to endure unimaginable circumstances that deprive them of their civil liberties. The Nise, who are my parents and most of us in this room, faced unbelievable prejudice and injustice and hardship that led to their forced removal from their homes and schools and communities. Some volunteered to fight for our country, and others stood up against injustice by loudly stating, "No, no." Most importantly, we celebrate the Ise and Nise women, our mothers, our aunts, who kept families together and gave each one of us the ultimate example of strength and courage. As I said, I am a sansei. And like others in my generation, and a lot of you who are in this room tonight, we owe, and I owe, everything to the Ise and Nise sacrifices. Their perseverance, their accomplishments, their strength is the foundation of our community and paved the way for future generations. I have told many people throughout my life, there's not a single accomplishment that I didn't experience that wasn't because of the path that the Ise and Nise made for me and made for all of us. They gave us our future. I'm extremely proud to see the Yonsei and Gosei embrace their history. I hope that they use the strength and legacy for the generations before them to make a difference in supporting and improving the lives of others. Lastly, I want to recognize and thank the staff at JANM. They work tirelessly every single day in support of our mission. I've always said, my philosophy, especially as you go to JANM, everyone from the front door to the back door play a critical role in helping JANM achieve its goals and objectives. I want you to know nothing is done without the staff at JANM. And I know you join me in thanking them for their dedication and their commitment. Now, you all know I have this teleprompter right here, and I'm trying to read this thing. Thank God I have my glasses. But I'm going to step away for a second, because there's one program tonight that I do want to highlight. And everyone's out in the back rooms going, "Oh, God, he's stepping away from the teleprompter." But for me, and I want to share with you, that I believe one of the greatest accomplishments we can achieve in our personal and professional lives is making a positive and hopefully a life-changing impact on the life of another person. JANM's Bid for Education will give you that opportunity. Through this program, thousands of kids from different communities, a lot from communities of color, come to JANM to hear and experience the stories of our community. These stories include injustices, but also amazing strength and courage. I strongly believe that if we can touch the heart and mind of one of those kids, we can make a difference, we can make an impact, because they can take that experience into their future professional lives. Hopefully, through the Bid for Education, we help not only one kid, not 10, 50, 100, maybe more. And so I'd ask you that you support this program. For a lot of you here tonight, you've already supported it online. But if you want to see magic at JANM, come any day of the week and see the 50 kids who are in JANM walking through common ground, walking through the building, and seeing what our community went through, but seeing also what our community survived and the strength of our community, and that they take that as a lesson back to their own communities. Because we are a community of immigrants, and a lot of kids who come to JANM are also immigrants. And now it's my great pleasure to introduce and bring to the stage our President and CEO, Ann Burroughs. As I've said, many, many times. Anne's energy, commitment, and dedication to human rights make her uniquely qualified to lead JANM. Folks, we're in great hands, and our future is extremely strong. Thank you very much. Enjoy the evening.
Thank you, Bill, for that very kind introduction. How wonderful to see everybody this evening. A warm welcome to every single one of you. Thank you so much from all of us at JANM, from our Board of Trustees, from our Board of Governors, from our staff, and from our volunteers. Thank you for joining us tonight as we celebrate JANM across generations. Thank you for your incredible support, for your dedication to JANM, and for your belief in the importance of the work that we do. Over the years, over the decades, we've been extraordinarily fortunate to have the support of leaders and families across the nation. And tonight, as the program unfolds, you'll see that the baton is finally passing to a new generation of leaders and supporters who stand ready to steer JANM's course and to strengthen JANM's future. And that future is exceedingly bright, exceedingly bright. Our founders, all those years ago, made a promise that JANM would stand as a beacon of civil rights to ensure that what happened to Americans of Japanese ancestry in 1942 would never happen to any other group. And in order to honor that promise, and in fact to honor history itself, I'm delighted to share with you that we've embarked on the largest fundraising campaign in JANM's history. It's a campaign to secure that future, and it's a campaign to transform our physical and digital presence, our exhibitions and our programming. And we have very, very bold plans. We'll reimagine our public spaces and our core exhibition. We'll retell the Japanese American story as an American story, from immigration to incarceration, from post-World War resettlement to the present, as a story of interconnectedness with other communities, as a story of how the Japanese American community has changed over the decades. And it's an important story we'll tell of how Japanese America continues to shape democracy. We'll also use the arts. We'll use the arts to tap into the rich cultural heritage of the past. We'll use the arts to elevate those stories, and we'll use the arts to tap into the ever-changing expression of that culture in the present. So when you visit JANM, you'll see smart technology and digital art driving the way we tell our stories and how we connect to the past. And I have to say that we have an extraordinarily exciting preview, an extraordinarily exciting interlude for you later this evening. And when you visit JANM, we invite you to make a mark next to your family's names in the Irecho. Those who haven't been yet, you really must come. It's a book that for the first time lists the names of the over 125,000 people who were incarcerated in 75 confinement sites. It's become an extraordinarily powerful point of pilgrimage, with families traveling from across the country and indeed across the world to make their mark. And we hear from people who've had that experience, from people who've made that a mark, that each stamping is an act of memory and remembrance, that each stamping is an act of repair across generations. And for us, having the Irecho at JANM gives an entirely new meaning to the concept of a monument. We think about monuments generally, that their value is measured in its permanence. But this community monument, this Irecho that gathers the names together, accrues its power with each stamping. We will also relaunch our National Center for the Preservation of Democracy as a place where we gather people to talk about race, to talk about identity, about social justice, about the fragility of democracy. With the ever-deepening divisions within civil society that we're seeing across the country, the rise of hate in all its forms, the attacks on democracy itself, the need to stand up the center is more urgent now than it's ever been. And who better to do that than JANM? We will also name our plaza after Norm. We will name our plaza the Norman Y. Mineta Democracy Plaza. We'll do that to honor Norm's leadership. We'll do that to honor his contributions to JANM and his contributions to the nation. Because it was our plaza, it was on our plaza, where families lined up to board the buses that would transport them to the assembly centers en route to America's concentration camps. And for me, I believe that our plaza stands as one of those ground zero points in the civil rights history of this country. It stands as a bridge between the past, the present, and the future. And it's that plaza, it's that place that gives JANM tremendous, tremendous power of place. And what better way for us to honor Norm and to honor his lifelong commitment to ensuring that this nation lives up to its promise of democracy than to dedicate our plaza to this great man and to his legacy. So we hope that when you come back to JANM, when you stand on that plaza, you'll think about that history, you'll think about that past, you'll think about the present, you'll think about that continuum, and you'll think about Norm, because he is so present. He's so present for all of us. So this campaign that we will launch in just a few months will drive all of these plans. I'm not going to tell you too much information about it. It will come in the fullness of time. But what I can tell you is that during this quiet phase of the campaign, we've already achieved over 70% of our goal. And many of you in this room have already made a contribution to that goal. And many of you in this room were there for JANM when we built the pavilion. Many of you made contributions to that campaign to build a world-class museum, and it's your contributions that have enabled JANM to grow and to stay strong. And I hope that you will join us. I hope that you will join us when we make the call. I hope that you will join us to make sure that we can build JANM strongly into the future. So more of that later. And now it's such a pleasure for me to congratulate Frank and Elena for your wedding anniversary. And it's so wonderful that we could all gather together just to celebrate you. And with that, Frank, please come back to the stage. Are you back on?
Thank you, Anne. Again, I'm really in trouble now with my wife. She doesn't like being called out, but anyway, thank you all very much for that, and thank you, Anne. JANM's founding is such a miracle, isn't it? A museum dedicated to telling the Japanese-American story from our journey across the ocean to incarceration and prejudice, reparations, and then finding our community's voice. But when you really look into JANM's story, you realize right away it isn't a miracle. Instead, it was and continues to be because of the dedication of people like you here tonight. Now it's time to hear from two JANM governors. They are both third-generation members of families who have been strong supporters and leaders for the museum. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Josh Morey and Nikki Koldama.
Thank you, Frank. First of all, just thank you so much to the generations that have gone before us to even allow us to be here in this room today. So much gratitude. Throughout the evening tonight, we are highlighting a few families whose multi-generational support will ensure that JANM's mission stays strong for many years to come. My family has been part of the JANM family since its inception. My Uncle Jack served on the Board of Governors, along with my Aunt Carol, Maury Viventi, and my Aunt Janet is still an active volunteer. And the entire extended Maury family have made JANM a philanthropic priority. Before joining the Board of Governors, I was the founding member of JANM's New Leadership Advisory Council and Young Professionals Network in 2010, and served as its chairperson from 2012 to 2014. The reason my family and I have made a commitment that spans multiple generations is an alignment of our core values, which are expressed simply in the phrase, Kodomo no tamani, which means for the sake of the children. JANM's role in educating future generations to make the world a better place resonates powerfully with my family. It is my hope that by sharing the rich cultural diversity of America through the lens of the Japanese American experience, we can help inspire the next generation to use the lessons from our past to help shape a better future.
My family has also had a long relationship with JANM. My grandfather, Buddy Mamiya, was one of the founding members and on the board. My uncle, Chip Mamiya, was on the Board of Governors. And now, I proudly carry the torch for our family as a JANM governor. People ask me why JANM is important to me and my family. My answer is always the same. It's a way to honor the legacy of my grandparents and their generation. They dreamed of a place where they could celebrate the Japanese American culture, tell their story, and remember their history, our history. Whenever I'm at JANM, I feel this deep connection to my grandparents' spirit. It's the reason why my husband and I had our wedding reception in the Central Hall. And it's why my cousin and I are here this evening, to honor their memory. Like so many of the families highlighted in the slideshow behind us, I believe that being involved with JANM is a way to give back and show appreciation for all that we have been blessed with. We are deeply honored to recognize and thank all the families that have supported JANM across the generations. Your support and leadership is the foundation for our success and community impact. We hope that you will join us in keeping JANM as part of your family legacy for generations to come. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Josh and Nikki, for your support and dedication to the Japanese American National Museum. I think you're really going to enjoy this next portion of the evening. Anne sort of teased us with it, but you've probably heard of ChatGPT and other artificial intelligence programs that have been on the news lately. JANM is at the forefront of using AI technology to ensure the stories of our Nisei camp survivors, veterans, and treasured volunteers, that those stories are never forgotten. JANM continues to be an innovator and leader amongst cultural institutions, and what follows is an exciting example of how the museum is leveraging smart technology to tell stories in new and innovative ways. Our next guest co-presented JANM's exhibition, The Interactive StoryFile of Lawson Sakai, which uses AI smart technology to preserve and share the oral history of World War II veteran Lawson Sakai. Tonight, Cole Kawana is introducing a second StoryFile exhibition. Please welcome Gosei entrepreneur Cole Kawana.
Thank you, Frank. You know, growing up, JANM was always a part of my family. My grandmother, Masako Koga Murakami, was JANM's first volunteer. And it's at the museum where she met and fell in love with my grandfather, Richard Murakami, over there. So it comes as no surprise that the museum's been a strong influence on my career, and it's through my work that I'd like to continue my family's legacy in supporting the museum and its programs. To me, volunteers and docents such as my grandparents have and will always be the foundation of what makes JANM so special. The empathetic experience that a visiting school kid gets when they talk to a volunteer is irreplaceable. Getting to hear that phrase, "This is what happened to me when I was your age," it personalizes, humanizes, and drives home the mission of JANM to all those visiting school kids. So I created a nonprofit called Japanese American Stories, and it's a project that uses modern artificial intelligence technology to preserve and amplify that experience. In 2021, we debuted the StoryFile of Lost in Sakai, and it was an extension of JANM's permanent exhibit. And I'm proud to announce and debut the StoryFile of June Berk today. This is the second of now what will be 4 total story files that are utilized at JANM's physical museum space. And I'm really excited, I'll talk in a little bit, about our online use as well for remote educational use cases. June responded to 346 questions ranging 32 topics over 6 hours, 8 minutes, and 22 seconds of video capture in front of a 360-degree array of green screen cameras. And we processed this through the company that I work for, StoryFile's artificial intelligence program, which allows visitors to talk to June conversationally. June's voice is now amplified. Via the educational materials that we're building in collaboration with JANM, she'll soon be able to speak about her World War II experience to dozens of classrooms across the country, all at the same time. I'm excited to share more about this program in a little bit, but first, who better to introduce you to June Berk than June herself? So ladies and gentlemen, help me introduce June.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Cole. It's been an honor to be here tonight. When JANM asked me to participate in this program tonight, I thought, well, how am I going to introduce myself? And I thought it was a bit strange that they would ask me to introduce myself. But then, why not? Who else knows me better than myself, right? So here I am, okay? You can ask me any question. Hello? Hi. Can you tell me about your story file? That's a very good question. Try to make...
Oops. Sorry about that, my finger slipped. Go ahead, say it again.
Can you tell me about your story file? That's a very good question. Try to make it more concise.
Hey June, can you tell me about your story file?
Hi, hello. My name is June Berk. I am 89 years old today, and I am here to speak to you about my experiences of growing up here in Los Angeles, California as a young girl, and also to tell you what it was like as a 10-year-old being evicted from our homes and being sent to the internment camps during World War II, first to Santa Anita and then to Aurora, Arkansas, and what happened there. I do this because I feel it's important to educate the public and let them know what happened during that wartime, because it was done out of prejudice and hate. And I feel that we need to have understanding of everyone's culture, because that is the only way we can prevent things like this from happening again. June, what do you want your legacy to be? That's a very good question. Try to make it more concise.
Just say, what do you want your legacy to be?
What do you want your legacy to be? My legacy, I never thought, my legacy. I hope that everyone can live in peace and instead of hate, and be kind to each other. I hope children will learn that, just to be kind to each other and respect one another and just get along and be grateful for all the things that people have done before you, your ancestors, your own ancestors, the first immigrants that came from Italy or Poland or Mexico or Sweden or Canada or Japan or China. Just be conscious of how much they had to suffer so that you could be happy today. I guess that would be the legacy that I would like to leave behind. Can you show me a photo of your family? Can you show me a photo of your family? Oh, yes, I have a large family today. That's my whole family, a picture of my whole family. This was at my son, Ron, and his wife, Cricket's wedding, and the little girl is the flower girl. She's my granddaughter, Lily, belonging to Jeannie and Kyle.
There's nothing like doing it live. So, I don't know if you remember June when I'm sure it's fresh in your mind when we filmed this all that time ago, but how does it feel to unveil this finally and let other people in the public now talk to you? I mean, you're going to be able to talk to hundreds of people at the same time now.
It is an incredible experience, and 素晴らしいね. So, yes, I hope that through this medium that we can reach the children and encourage people to be curious and to learn our history from our issei and our nisei, because if we don't tell our history, people won't know it, and you need to tell it and not hide behind it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have those slides? I think there's some slides they're going to throw up behind me, but really quickly, this has been a while coming, and I'm super excited that you're all going to be able to physically see June at JANM, and she'll be joining Lawson. But the real reason I did this in the first place was to honor the experience and the time and the dedication of volunteers, docents, people like my grandparents. And the real power of this, I think, is going to be unlocked where very soon we're creating an educational program. And we're working on it over the summer, hopefully going to roll it out in the beginning of the next school year. But essentially what we're going to do is send in these educational packages. It'll be like excerpts from a poem or a book. It prompted student and teacher-led discussions where each of these story files will be sent into classrooms, and the teacher will facilitate essentially a mini visit to JANM, but on location in any state, people that can't physically come and visit the museum. And then the amazing thing is we're going to be able to give access, temporary access to each of the students. They could pick a topic of their own choice, let's say sports in camp or barrack conditions, and then they'll be let free to do their own independent research and really actually talk to these people, share the same experience a student gets when they physically get to go in and talk to a docent, but now hundreds of kids all across the country can do it at the same time 20 years from now, 50 years from now, 100 years from now. So that's where we're going with this, and I'm really, really excited. It'll be happening very soon, and we'll have 2, 3 more of them coming in the future too. Thank you.
Can I just ask one? This is so cool. I just want to ask one more question. Hey, June, do you ever watch David Ono on Channel 7?
That's a very good question. Try to make it more concise.
Thank you, June. Thank you, Cole.
Thank you.
How cool is this? I mean, isn't that amazing? Thanks to Cole and June, and also to AI June. Now to introduce highlights of JANM's programs and exhibitions during the past year, please welcome JANM Governor Jeff Maloney and JANM's Director of the Frank H. Watase Media Arts Center, Tad Nakamura.
Thank you, Frank. I Hapa Yonsei checking in here, so just for the record. Before Tad introduces JANM's Year in Review video, I wanted to take this opportunity to thank the hundreds of volunteers who support the museum. From leading school tours, teaching origami at our family festivals, to welcoming visitors, researching family histories, raising awareness and support, and even putting together our elegant centerpieces for tonight's benefit. On that note, thank you to Terry Tanamura and Jan Fujimoto for all the hard work that went into these beautiful centerpieces. So my own mother, Janet Maloney, started her volunteer career at JANM 24 years ago. Over the years, she's served on numerous volunteer committees and has served as chair of the Volunteer Leadership Council. For the last 15 years, she's spearheaded JANM's Kokoro Craft Fair, which has raised over $190,000 to support the museum. I'm so proud of her and grateful for the values she taught me through her decades of service. And as a new governor, I carry on her tradition of service to this institution that we love. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. So volunteers like my mom are the heart and soul of the museum and are central to every program, exhibition, and operation. Would all of our JANM volunteers, past and present, please stand to be recognized? Let's give them a big, warm round of applause.
Thanks, Jeff. Good evening, everyone. My name is Tad Nakamura, and I'm the new director of the Frank H. Watase Media Arts Center, which produces documentary exhibitions, media, and video life histories in support of JANM's mission and work. My father, Robert Nakamura, founded MAC, and my mother, Karen Ishizuka, succeeded him as director before becoming the chief curator of JANM. It's my honor to continue my family's legacy in leading MAC and leveraging the center not only as a critical resource for our museum exhibitions and programs, but as the production company to produce award-winning documentaries. In just the last 2 months, MAC has proudly screened our work in film festivals in Seattle, San Francisco, and Chicago. Our vision is to create a more just world through art and visual storytelling. Tonight, MAC is proud to present the following video that highlights the museum's recent programs and exhibitions. I'd like to echo Jeff's gratitude to our volunteers, members, supporters, and staff whose generous support of time, talent, and treasures have made all this incredible work possible.
are gold.
Just get stronger through be strong.
And LA,
I am so beautiful.
and LA,
We are so beautiful.
Each year, we take a moment to reflect on those who have passed in the year since the last time we were together. These individuals contributed to the establishment and ongoing successes of the Japanese American National Museum. This past year, we've suffered two losses that hit the JANM family particularly hard: the passing of the Honorable Norman Y. Mineta and Thomas Masami Yuki. To lead this special tribute this year, please welcome to the stage JANM Governor and Norm's eldest son, David Mineta.
Thank you, Frank. Congratulations to the Buckleys on we're going to be doing this all night, I fear, and congratulating the Buckleys. It's an honor to pay tribute to these two stalwart leaders in our community. My father, or Norm, as most of you know him, was incarcerated at Hart Mountain as a young child. He was the first elected Asian American mayor of a major American city. He served 20 years in the House of Representatives and eventually served in President Bill Clinton and President George W. Bush's cabinets. It should be noted, too, that he was the first Japanese American cabinet member in our nation's history. My father was deeply committed to JANM and its mission. That's why he dedicated much of the latter part of his life to making sure that JANM flourishes and goes from strength to strength. The parallels between the history of discrimination and prejudice that forged our community's history and the current treatment of communities of color, immigrant communities, and other disenfranchised groups are so stark. Our story, the whole story, from immigration to incarceration to rebirth of the community, has a direct connection to the stories of many other communities right now. Racism that directly affects a community's well-being, all aspects of life, is as pervasive now as it was in 1942. For my dad, for the whole Mineta family, it is critical that the country remembers and learns the lessons of history in order, as Dad would say so wisely, to influence the present and to shape a more just future. That is why we all have an obligation. It may be, I would say, our life's work in many ways to ensure that JANM thrives. Another remarkable individual who shared that belief and was instrumental in the museum's success was longstanding trustee and my dad and my stepmother Denny's great friend, Tom Yuki. Tom Yuki was born in Salinas, California. He and his family were incarcerated in Poston. Following the war, they returned to Los Gatos, California, where Tom's father bought a farm. Tom served in the United States Army as a second lieutenant, and following his father's passing, managed Yuki Farms, overseeing its Salinas farming properties and a variety of residential and commercial real estate. He would go on to serve as a founding board member of American Bank and Trust He was an active member of the San Jose Buddhist Church Betsuin and served as a long-time board of trustee for the Japanese American National Museum from 1996 to 2022, and its treasurer from 2009 to 2021. But what most people don't know is that Tom received his pilot's license. He played the violin and harmonica, loved to travel, played a lot of golf, enjoyed and owned horses, and was an avid 49ers, dare I say, Warriors fan still? Can I say that in this room? We are forever grateful for the leadership, courage, dedication, and service of these two remarkable men who have done so much for the museum and our community. And if I could, just for 1 second, and take just a point of privilege here, I am here on really representing my stepmother, who would have been here otherwise, probably maybe giving these remarks. And I'm joined by my brother Bob Brantner, and both of us are here representing both Dad and Denny tonight. We're fortunate to be, we kind of crashed the Yuki's table, and we are glad to be with Carol and family tonight. One thing I want to make sure of as a new governor is that this room understand, maybe more than anyone, our mission to carry JANM forward in all of our circles, because the mission is everything. It is the holder of dreams past, present, and future. And in spending the last 2 days with the trustees and the other governors, it's important for this room to know that those dreams in Ann and in the staff's hands are in great, great hands. We are so fortunate to have Ann and staff leading this museum at this very, very important time in history. It makes me shake thinking about it. It makes me shake thinking about where we are at in history, what is happening right now, and how important the museum is. My family and I believe that JANM is the living embodiment of the foundation that leaders like Dad, like George Takei, like Tom, that they all laid. Our job as a succeeding generation is to ensure that we remain true to their legacy and build on that foundation, to ensure that JANM goes from strength to strength. This is my family's promise to all of you, and we hope that you join our pledge to sustain JANM for many, many, many years to come. Please join me in honoring other pioneers, community members, and dedicated volunteers who had a tremendous impact on our museum and community. Thank you all very much.
Harold, thank you. It's beautiful. When the founders of the museum conceived of JANM, one of the most important responsibilities they envisioned was making sure that the story of what happened to Japanese Americans during World War II was not forgotten and, equally important, would never be repeated. The bid for education is JANM's way of ensuring this and remains one of our most effective tools to teach and reach students of all ages, not just in Southern California, but around the country and the world. Let's take a look at a video highlighting the education program at JANM.
Hi, my name is Patrick Inoue, and I am the history teacher at Orange Glen, which is in Escondido. We are here to do a tour with all of 3 of my U.S. history classes, and we're here to get a full experience and kind of full exposure of what history is like in real life.
I like all the artifacts because it shows a generation that, we're not a part of, but we still get to experiences with all the things that he left behind. It brings us education about the things that happen on internments, but it also educates us to learn from our mistakes and not to do that again in the future.
I guess being able to see a community's traditions still go along as they move to a completely different location, and then seeing that slowly develop over time.
I think it's very educational and eye-opening, mostly with the Should America Apologize? Like that post-war stuff. I just think that corresponds to today. I felt very privileged because not a lot of people get to come here from schools. I liked it so far.
We're from a Title I school, so all of my students get free or reduced lunch, and about 1/3 of my students that I brought here have never been to Los Angeles. So being able to get them out a little bit, kind of get that first exposure, there isn't a lot of opportunity that's out there right away. It's something that they work for every single day, and just getting the chance to set something up for free for them. My great-grandfather, East, actually stayed in a barracks just like this one here in Heart Mountain. So when Aunt Janet told me that, hey, this is the same wood and everything from that same camp, I was like, oof. Here in the museum, Janet was actually able to show me a picture where my great-aunt Set did softball. So there's a picture that I had never seen before, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's right there in the picture. Every time I come here, this is my 4th time here, where we get to talk about hey, these are all the different connections that we have as a family here that I get to pass on to my students, making sure that they understand this is a history that's not far away. This was really recent.
Thank you, Jenna.
Good evening. I'm Jennifer Hirano. My mother, Irene Hirano Inoue, joined JANM in 1988 as inaugural executive director, later becoming president and CEO. She served in that role for 20 years, during which she led the opening of the museum and the subsequent construction and opening of the pavilion in 1999. Growing up, I was a JANM volunteer, and in 2022, I joined the Board of Governors and am honored to play a small part in carrying forward our family's commitment to JANM. My mother told me that she had little knowledge about the World War II incarceration until she went to college. She often remarked that it was amazing what our Issei and Nisei grandparents and parents did to pave the way for the Sansei and subsequent generations to have every opportunity they were denied. JANM honors and preserves my great-grandparents' and grandparents' histories, and through their groundbreaking exhibitions and programs, keeps their stories alive in the context of current events by drawing parallels and shining a light on prejudice and injustice that exists today. The bid for education provides future generations with equitable access to learn and experience our stories firsthand. As many of you remember, this program was very meaningful to my mother and Senator Inoue, and our families are grateful for your ongoing support.
Thank you, Jennifer. My name is Ken Inoue. My father, Senator Daniel K. Inoue, was one of JANM's founders. His commitment to the principles of democracy and the promises of the Constitution shaped JANM's mission and initiatives. a guiding presence at JANM's board meetings, annual dinners, and national conferences. He created JANM's Bid for Education program and led the creation of JANM's National Center for the Preservation of Democracy. His view was that as time passes, we're not just passing the torch, we're giving light to more people. I'm honored now to serve as a JANM governor and advance his vision, a vision in which students everywhere learn the lessons of Japanese American history to strengthen our democracy and to guard against any other group being similarly targeted. As Jennifer noted, Bid for Education was very meaningful to my father and Irene, and our families are very grateful for your support. And now, I would like to introduce my friend, Jeff McIntyre. Okay.
Is that it, Ken? You can't
no.
do better than that?
The
I'm your
teleprompter
good
doesn't
friend,
have the part.
apparently. I thought
And now,
that.
please welcome my friend Jeff McIntyre. With
That's
a career
better.
spanning 3 decades, Jeff McIntyre has blazed a diverse trail through TV, film, and radio. An accomplished producer, journalist, cinematographer, and editor, most of you know him through his work with David Ono. For over 20 years, they've been chasing down important stories, and most recently have taken to the theater to do an immersive show called Defining Courage, which celebrates the legacy of Japanese soldiers of World War II. 51 countries and 24 Emmy Awards later, Jeff believes everyone has a rich story to tell and loves traveling the world to tell them. And tonight, he's here to help ensure students can continue to be moved by our story with the Bid for Education.
Woohoo! Thank you, Mike.
Hello, JANM. And I get it. Words you thought you'd never hear, you were safe from hearing at a JANM event. Welcome to the stage, Jeff McIntyre. I mean, it's supposed to be a safe place. I get it. I'm basically here because, well, David Ono can't be here tonight. And I guess in the world of JA events, I'm the eternal bridesmaid. So it's, you know, something I live with. I did steam my tie for tonight, so you got to give me a little credit. Now, David really wanted to be here, but what I'm hearing, something about a home waxing treatment that went awry. So we dispatched reporters. They're on this story, and we'll give you updates as we have them. But I'm honored to be here because education has been such an important component of the work David and I do. And this is really an exciting time for all of us. So I'm going to break it down, and I promise not to use too much math for you. But $350, what does that get you these days? And all these numbers have been adjusted for inflation, so no need to get your calculator out. $350 supports one bus, bringing 60 students to JANM. Now, $1,000, what happens? The benefits are tripled. It's 3 buses rolling down the road with the potential to change the lives of 180 students. Now, $1,000 can also cover museum admission fees for the 200 students. Or we've got these cool virtual visits, virtual museum experiences, and $1,000 would take care of 250 students. That's pretty cool, right? Now, when you support education, here's what you're doing. You're not only supporting the wheels on the buses to go round and round and bring them downtown. No, no, no. You're not only supporting museum admission, but you're investing in increased staff and resources, allowing us to support new programs like these virtual visits and teacher training, which is so desperately important right now. And this helps us expand our national reach. You know, in its inaugural year, the virtual visit program reached students in 14 states outside of California and 4 countries way beyond the United States. Let's hear it for JANM for being such forward thinkers on that. That is awesome. And those are the nuts and bolts, but more than all that, you are funding the preservation of really an uncomfortable truth that must never be forgotten. This is the power of education. Now, each year there are dedicated, really loving, generous believers in Senator Inouye's vision. And they're so enthusiastically eager to keep that vision going that they actually commit their support for the bid for education in advance. And here's what they want you to do. They want to make sure that this special program of JANM continues its valuable work, its life-changing work, and that all of you are inspired to jump in and support the cause and put, students first, because this story, as you know, really has the power to change minds and change them forever. Now, at the $10,000 level, we're not messing around here, and we are so deeply grateful and fortunate to count on the support of Eagle Globerman and the Kodama Foundation, Gregory G. Nakahira, and Lucille Tayama. Let's hear it for them, because that's some big-time support. And okay, be scared, I'm leaving the prompter. I get it. $10,000 is a deeply generous gift. And with, David not here tonight, I'm kind of in a unique position to offer some enticements. Or maybe I wouldn't be able to if David, was holding me back. Anne is so nervous right now. I could see her trembling. We may need a tank of oxygen. Do we have oxygen we can bring? So here's what I'm planning to do. First of all, some of you know David and I go back, 2 decades. We've worked together a long time. And by a show of hands, how many of you suspect that in my vast library of photos and videos, I might just have some incriminating evidence on David? Put up your hands if you think, yes, he does. Oh, come on, really? They're not serving wine at this event? I know, you're a little too sober. Yes, I may have a couple clips. And here's what I plan to do. In the spirit of giving, to prime the charitable pump, I will drip out some images and videos. Well, let's just say David would probably just want his attorney to see these. He probably wouldn't want other people to peek behind the veil of what the real David Ono is like. But because my heart is full of generosity tonight, I will release them to you if you generously release some funds to us. Because I know you get the mission. I know you feel it. I know you've been a great supporter of JANM over the decades, and this is your chance to stand up and really lean in and keep pushing forward at a time when this story has never needed a bigger push. Am I right? Now, right now, now's the time. And my close-up, I'll say it again. Now is the time. Thank you. Okay, so I just read a couple names of people who leaned in generously for $10,000. If anyone else in this room here tonight is willing to jump in, follow their lead, $10,000, I will drop the first incriminating picture of your beloved anchor, not Frank, but David Ono. I had to get that in, Frank. David's probably watching the live stream. I'll never work again in this town. So who is willing to go big and really give education the push that it needs, but most importantly, it deserves? $10,000. Who's all in on this tonight? Who wants to make history? Well, we've made it so easy for you. Just with the simple extension of your arm to the middle of your table, there's a donation card where all this magic happens. If that's too much, I get it. We've just had a large meal. Reach for your phone. You can give on your phone with an amazing app called Give Smart. Have you heard of this thing? I've just been told that 800 of you are already registered. So you're going to be getting a text pretty soon, and we're going to make this process so easy and painless. So $10,000. Who do we have here for $10,000? Our runners have been stretching out in the lobby. They're ready to run to you. I saw them. It was beautiful. Anyone for 10? You know what I'm willing to do? I get it. It's been quite a year. I'm going to extend my charitable offer at the $5,000 level. I am going to show you a really wait. Do we have someone for 10? Are you in for 10? Okay, this is incredible. She is getting the wheels on the giving bus going. Thank you so much. So let's do this. Eric, we're going to rejig things, and let's share your first David Ono enticement at $5,000. And we encourage more of you to give. And after you see this, how could you not want to support education? And hopefully you'll teach kids to never end up in situations like this in their future. $5,000. Who else can we sign up to $5,000? We're laughing, we're having fun, we're thinking about all the young minds that are ready to be changed, and ready to be changed through the incredible work, the staff, the volunteers. Oh, do we have another 5,000 over here? Yes, applause, this is incredible. Those donation cards, they're hungering for your signatures, your bids. We have another one over here. This is wild. Please show some love. Oh, this is really embarrassing. I haven't seen this photo. Please, Anne, cover your eyes. I've just noticed there is a partial wardrobe malfunction in this. I hope there... Eric, is there any way to like censor this or something? Because I'm really embarrassed, and I don't want this to be the last thing you think of me. So just please like censor this shot, and we really move on. And oh. Great, that really solves that problem. Yeah. Okay, $5,000. Who else? We have so many committed, passionate people in this room. And now, over there, I'm seeing LEDs flashing. Generosity is flowing. Please give it up for her. And over here, wow, the sound of 5,000 is echoing through this hall. And we have a big goal. We have an ambitious goal. Feast your eyes on this throne. Wow, it keeps going. Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. Education, education, students' lives being changed. Watch that meter. We want to hit $150,000 in it. How many of you think we have the capacity, not only financial capacity, but capacity in our hearts to hit $150,000? How many of you believe in this goal? Let's hear it. Thank you. Oh my God, we're getting so close. Can you feel it? This is really exciting. And at the $5,000 level, I have to show some love for Milani M. Halleck, Ken S. Hamamura, Gary K. Kawaguchi, Wendy C. Shiba, and Dean A. Shiganaga. Let's hear it for them. Because they get the value in education, and I know you do too. Anyone else for $5,000? Donation card awaits. We have more $5,000. Thank you. I'm just curious. I have to ask. This is real time. Did this photo move you in any way to give? When you look at this, do you think of generosity and the power of giving?
No, I did it in spite.
Thank you. And you know what? You could do that too. In spite of David and I, but for JANM. Yes. Anyone else for $5,000? Over here, cameras spin around. I'm mesmerized by the rainbow LEDs. And each time you see those LED lights flashing, students' minds are about to be expanded. Students' hearts are about to swell with this story that we grew up with this. A lot of you have lived through this. Your families have lived through this painful history, but there's so many students out there that have never heard this story. This is why the bid for education has never been more important. Anyone else for $5,000? I know, over here, oh, incredible. We're already up. What? Look at this screen. We are less than $8,000 away from our goal, and I knew it. This room is full of overachievers. If anyone could exceed $150,000, it's this wonderful, kind group. Thank you so much. Who wants to push it over? One more $5,000 bid. We'll get right up to $153,000, and we'll all get up and we'll do some spontaneous dance together. One more $5,000 bid? Okay. I want to keep moving because we have a lot of other fun little enticements. Now we're at the $2,500 level. And at this level, we are deeply thankful for the support of Leslie K. Furukawa. Leslie K. is in the house. Show her some love. Carrie L. Nakama and Cindy M. Omiya. They all deserve some applause. $2,500. This is a level accessible to many. And for all of you, the first person, okay, that triggers your next David Ono enticement. Are you ready for that? Are you ready for the next incriminating video of David Ono? He's totally up for it. While you're watching this, reach for those donation cards. Go to your phone. They have that wonderful GiveSmart app. And there's all these runners. They want to support you as you support JANM. So the moment you just get inspired to support this cause, they will come to you like she came to him, like he came to her. So keep the $2,500 bids going. Bill and Darlene, we love you guys. And are you ready to see the next David Ono video?
I want to see Buckley.
We may have a special clip. His wife sent me some video. Well, let's first get to this. Because a lot of you know David Ono, and you think of him as a very serious, we have another 2,500. I know we can do more 2,500. But you see David Ono as very serious, right? He's a serious newsman. He's pretty much the opposite of a mullet. He's business in the front and business in the back, right? He's very serious. But if you put him on an island full of bunnies, whoa, wait, erupt in applause. This is incredible. We've surpassed our goal because of you. Your loving spirit, we thank you so much, and you definitely deserve what you're about to see. So David Ono, very serious. But if you put him on an island filled with bunnies, now you experience the softer side of David Ono. And when I say bunnies, Ann, I'm talking about the furry woodland creatures, not Hefner's pals. So that just has to be stated. So Eric, please roll this next enticement clip.
Hop, hippity hop, hippity hop. Hop, hippity hop, hippity hop. Boing, boing, boing. Hop, hippity hop, hippity hop.
Ow! He just bit my finger.
Boing.
Okay, give it up for David Ono. And when I was in the lobby, I Googled a 28th anniversary gift, and you never knew what came up, but it was blooper videos. So I dedicate that to Frank and Elena. That's another gift from us tonight. So education, $2,500. And while JANM continues to tell these painfully important stories, I think when you watch that video, education also becomes important to learn not to put your fingers in the rabid mouths of bunnies, right? This is education, what we're talking about. And it's very powerful, and we have another $2,500 bid over here. Thank you so much. How about another $2,500 bid? Thank you for your support. We're deeply grateful. And more over here. That is awesome. You know what you're doing? Let's always applaud. Because students don't know it now, but their lives are going to be tremendously rocked. David and I work with a lot of students, and we work in partnership with JANM and other organizations, and we have witnessed the transformation. They come in to our little workshops with kind of a broad understanding that they've heard the story whispered to family, as you know. Do the families ever talk about the story? But they have a broad understanding. But once they dig in, and they get deep, and they learn how to talk to their families about the story. They say it's like you gave me a key to my own family's past. You've unlocked something in me, and I'll never be the same person because I learned of the struggles and the triumphs of my family. And that is the power of education. That is the power in your hands right now. Back here, someone is exerting their power to change the future of kids' lives for $2,500. Thank you so much. Any more for $2,500? I know you're scrambling for your Bitcoin wallet right now. You want to jump in. And, you have to also remember, they're not teaching this in schools, right? But if this is history that you feel needs to be paid forward, you're in a very unique position tonight to make that happen. I mean, if the story matters to you, please help JANM. Fuel JANM's effort to make sure the story matters to future generations. We're already, look at this, going gangbusters. 171,470. That is wild. And more for 2,500? Oh my God, let's hear it. This is great. Donation cards are right there. Runners are ready. They're getting their steps in tonight. Now, let's move on. Because at the $1,000 level, I mean, the generosity just poured forth. At the $1,000 to $1,500 level, we're fortunate to count on the support. I just take a deep breath here. Susie Jen, Christine A. Wilkinson, Catherine A. Benai, William T. Fujioka, Kim Ima, Jean S. Kanamori, Richard I. Morimoto, Susan T. Morita, Jean S. Nelson,
Christine M. Nishiyama, Kyoko Oda, Michelle J. Odanaka, Floyd D. Shimamura, Fred I. Shiota, Naomi J. Sultan Stevenson, and the Yamagata Foundation. You impressed with my pronunciation, Ann? Okay, big round of applause for them. They jumped in at 1,000, and I know they'd be moved if you followed suit. So for $1,000, think about that. Think about what $1,000 will do. I gave you a little hint earlier. It puts 3 buses on the road, and it changes the life of 180 students. That's what $1,000 does. But it does so much more than that. The effects are everlasting. So if you need one more little piece of enticement, how about I just say this? Leather chaps and a hula hoop. Are you intrigued? Yeah, that's an Ono-rific picture, isn't it? Eric, do we have that one?
Hey, Jeff, I'm sorry to interrupt, but
What?
David Ono just FaceTimed in.
Is that even possible here? How is that even
Yeah,
possible?
yeah. Let me just pull him up. Hey guys, can
No,
you
I don't
put
believe
David on the
this.
screens, please?
Well, keep bidding, $1,000. Oh my God, it is.
Jeff.
What? What?
You've been talking smack.
No, I've been honoring you.
Yes, you have.
No,
Yes,
honoring.
you have. Mhm. You have.
No.
I never thought I'd have to do this,
What?
but I think tonight's the night.
I
The
can't
video.
wait. I can't wait.
The wig, the microphone, the little room in Hiroshima.
You've been going on about this for years. I thought you lost that camera. There's no video. You keep, holding this above me. It's
I
not...
was trying to forget, Jeff.
Sure, right.
I went through a year of therapy trying
Oh
to
my
block this out of my
God.
mind.
Poor David Ono. Exaggerate much? There is no video. Give it up. We're doing something here right now. We're a little busy.
It's time, Jeff.
There's not time.
It's time.
It's not time.
You're going to get your due. Your reckoning.
I'm getting
Ladies
my
and gentlemen,
reckoning.
I'm so sorry to do this to you, but Eric Rollo.
There's nothing. Okay, that wasn't that bad. I mean, it could have been worse.
I'm so sorry you had to see that.
So am I.
First Buckley and now that. It's a rough night. I get it. It's tough. It's tough. But keep this in mind. A little advice. This is all for a good cause. JANM does great work, and they need your support. The sooner you give them your money, the sooner you can get out of there and get this night over with. Tomorrow will be a better day.
Oh
Good
my
night,
God.
everybody.
David Ono, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for calling. Actually, he's at his daughter Kaya's birthday, which, how selfish. I mean, choosing her over us on this special night. Thank you, David, and thank you. Look at where we're at. Oh my, we're scratching the door of $200,000. That is oh my God, a momentous occasion, and it's all because of you. And I know, we were so entranced by David, we lost sight of the runners telling us about the $1,000 donors, more down there. How about, look across the sea of loving faces here, all the batons raising. How about one of them comes to your table, back there? I know we could rock this well over $200,000. And yes, we're already in the process. So anyone else for $1,000, we're waiting for you. The donation card is screaming your name. Your phone wants you to click on it and help support JANM. Okay, $500 bucks? What do you think of that? Is that a more comfortable place where we welcome you in at $500? And let me tell you something, at $500, you're keeping the lights on. But I don't mean the overhead flickering fluorescence. I'm talking about powerful spotlights that shine 24/7 on a very important story, on a truth that can never be forgotten. And in the light, truth has nowhere to hide. So that's what we want to do. Bring the students into the light, and your donations for $500 do that. Look at that. Yes. Woo! $201,645, all because of you. And I had a note here, if we exceeded 200,000, I said Frank and I would do a TikTok video. So that's still a possibility if we can get over 220, but we're well on our way. Uh-oh, did I hear some cursing backstage? I think that's Frank. He's rehearsing his part in the TikTok video. So what do we say for 500? Very comfortable entry point. for such an amazing cause. Yes, people are lined up over here. $500. Thank you all. We really appreciate that. And then, this is where my notes ran out. $500. Thank you. How about some other $500 donors? Go back to the prompter. Where am I at after 500? Thank you, thank you. This is incredible. And we're at the point now where you have your phone in your hand and you are just free to give any amount you want. Whatever is meaningful and comfortable to you, we graciously want to urge you to jump in, click those buttons, and help, really voice your choice for education. So whatever you feel like, you know how to give. We are so appreciative. And one other thing, the bidding will continue on your phones for a long time. And let me just say, that's really the only things that you should be using your phone for. Don't try to search out more karaoke videos on David Ono's Facebook page, because they just don't exist. I'm sorry, Ann, there aren't any more videos.
Not so fast.
Oh my God, what?
Eric, roll it.
This is crazy, but here's my number.
One last time, my apologies. Good night. Kaya, blow out the candles. I got a poker game to get to.
Thank you so much for putting up with me and your generous spirit. We couldn't do this without you. Your generous support keeps this very worthwhile program going. And like I said, the bidding can continue on your cell phones. We are so, I can't tell you, the depth of our generosity and love for you is so deep. And I know next year will be an incredible year as the education program will continue to swell and change more lives. Again, thank you so much. And I see security coming, so.
The comedy stylings of Jeff McIntyre and David Ono, ladies and gentlemen. How funny was that? Jeff, thanks for reminding us what not to do in a yukata. So our volunteers are totaling up the amount for us to announce shortly. And at last, the moment many of you have been eagerly anticipating, the drawing for the 2023 Lexus RX 500h F Sport Performance. Please welcome JANM Governors Chris Yang and Lisa Sugimoto.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you so much for that warm introduction. And thank you to all of you for being here this evening. Like many of you out in the audience today, my family has been longtime supporters of JANM. We were early supporters of the museum's campaign to build a pavilion. We played at every golf tournament, particularly my dad, who continues to play golf and is still here this evening. And of course, we sponsor every dinner, and we are here this evening doing the same. And as long as I can remember, Toyota has always been a strong corporate partner and supporter of the museum and our community. Toyota not only donated tonight's Lexus for our opportunity drawing, which is what you're waiting for, they are also lead donors to JANM's education program. And of course, those of you who know me, I spent 35 years in education as an academic, and I very much appreciate the donations they've made to the educational curriculum, to Southern California, and to those classrooms. The Toyota Motor North America Mobile Education Program will expand our impact and serve even more students. JANM is important for future generations, including some of the generations we have here at my table this evening. My niece and my nephew, my father's grandchildren, Lindsay and Aaron, are here this evening, and for them, it protects the legacy of those who came before us. Through its exhibitions and programs, the museum keeps the history of our ancestors alive, for we never want to forget those who've sacrificed so very much so we can be where we are today. Our past informs us and transforms us and should never be forgotten. Chris, I'm honored to serve on JANM's Board of Governors with you and wanted to share with you our deep appreciation for Toyo's continued leadership and support And I am not going to say very much more, and Chris has something to say from Toyota. Chris.
Thank you, Lisa. Toyota has been, is currently, and will continue to be a dedicated supporter of JANM and its mission to promote understanding and appreciation of America's ethnic and cultural diversity by sharing the Japanese-American experience. We're honored to be here tonight and support the museum. Thank you very much for this opportunity. And thank you very much to all the people who bought the Lexus Opportunity Drawing tickets. The team tells me that it's a very risky position to be the last person standing between a large crowd and a 2023 brand new Lexus RX. So without further ado, let's do the drawing.
Okay, so Chris was good about closing his eyes, and he wanted me to read this because he didn't want anyone to think that Toyota was in on the drawing. Well, if I can read this. Oh, okay. Mr. George Iwanaga. Is George in the audience? And it says, this was sold to me by Irene Nakagawa. So thank you, Irene, for selling this ticket. So congratulations, George Iwanaga, for winning the new Lexus.
Congratulations, George Iwanaga. Incredibly, the gift for 28th anniversary is a Lexus. And so we're hoping that maybe George is a generous guy. Congratulations. Thank you for your generous support, Toyota Motor North America and Chris Yang. And we would be remiss if we didn't mention Tracy Doy, who has for so many years represented Toyota and served on our board. Thank you, Tracy. I think you're here tonight. There you are. Hello, Tracy. We should also mention the Nisei Week Court, who helped us sell the Lexus tickets. We have them here. Where are you? Stand up. Queen Christine Yada, First Princess Audrey Nakaoka, Miss Tomodachi Meili Yanguas, Princess Amanda Hiraishi, Princess Lori Meza, and Princess Faith Nishimura. Thank you very much. Now, as we wrap up our evening, we thank you all for being here and for recognizing the importance of JANM to our community, nationally and internationally. The great news on the bid is that this much was raised. Oh, well, it's right. $239,000 plus, what's this, the last part? Plus 163? See, I was never good at math. 163,000 for a Lexus? Plus 239,000 for the bid. So thank you very much. Don't forget, the online auction will continue until tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific time. Get your bids in for that. Thank you so much for having me for another year. I look forward to being here again, seeing all of your faces every year. I expect to be here next year, and the next year, and the next year, until I'm replaced by ChatGPT and AI. So that'll be fun. Sending us out tonight, please welcome JANM volunteer Carol Yamakoshi and JANM trustee and chair emeritus Ernie Doizaki.
Both of my parents' families, 3 generations, were incarcerated and affected by the World War II concentration camps, including our 2 oldest sisters. We asked our parents about Japanese camps in America during World War II from a passing mention in a 1972 high school history class. Although our mother acknowledged that this occurred, she did not feel comfortable enough to tell her story for another 16 plus years. Through the redress and reparations effort, the Issei and Nisei generations were finally able to tell their story. Having JANM as a highly respected entity to house and share this story is amazing for those who suffered through the incarceration and the difficult move back to the West Coast.
Carol, I remember all too vividly asked by my childhood friend why I started World War II. We all have scars like this from past injustices, and unfortunately, this type of ignorance and hatred continues to plague our society today. We need to continue to share the Japanese American story to ensure this type of injustice does not happen again to another marginalized group in our country. Our story is an American story, and it's places like JANM. And I just remember Irene would always cringe when we used the word JANM. So in honor of Irene, the Japanese American National Museum that serves as an important reminder that any discrimination is just wrong. And for the Niseis, the sound of big bangs flourished in the camps. Bands like the Jive Bombers and Stardusters were the sounds of that generation.
But for the Sansei, what defined our generation wasn't the sound of the big bands, but instead the sounds of smooth R&B.
For those who are Sanseis like me, we'd like to bring you back to the Roger Young Auditorium and Parkview Women's Club and relive those nights of our youth.
And for those of you who are, well, a little younger, we'd like to introduce you to what it was like growing up here in Southern California way back in the 1960s and 70s. While we welcome back the Sansei Rockers for one last performance, I'd like to ask for all of tonight's speakers to please join us back here on stage for a photograph with these great musicians. Please come on up. And while we're doing that, everyone, please give one last big round of applause to the Sansei Rockers.
Okay, everyone say cheese at the same time.